Welcome back, Powerhouse Coaches. I'm your host, Dr. Amanda, and you're listening to the Coaching Business Growth Roadmap. This is a limited series podcast for coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners who are ready to get the exact steps to build a successful six-figure business. And in this episode, you're going to learn step 9, which is how to set up your consults to sell with confidence and convert prospects into paying clients. So in step number 7 and 8, you learned about organic lead gen strategies and opt-ins to grow your list. So in this step, you're now going to learn how to convert those leads into paying clients. Before we jump into this step, if you're just plugging into this limited series podcast, be sure to go back and listen to the beginning episode that says start here. That's going to lead you into the step-by-step roadmap. This is meant to be listened to in sequential order, so you implement the steps as you go using the Coaching Biz Growth Roadmap Supplemental Workbook. So that link is in the show notes. You're going to want to download that workbook so that you can follow along, implement steps as you go. Let's get started on step number 9, how to set up your consults to sell with confidence and convert prospects. First, let's consider here what zone you're in. So if you're in zone 1, the Manic Imposter zone, the thing that you really want to be focusing on in consults is practice, practice, practice. I promise you, you will get better and better at doing consults over time. And the first ones are probably going to feel a little bit awkward. If you've never done anything like this before, the easiest way to think about it is that it's a conversation with somebody who you're gathering information and finding out if it would be a good fit for you to work together by understanding what their problems are. So really just think of it as a conversation. And when you do this, it removes that sales fear. It removes that feeling like you've got to be this high pressure salesperson. I don't know about you, but I am not a fan of scripted consults. I hate it when I get on a call with somebody and I can tell they're reading a script and they're looking for those 3 no's and then they're pushing until they get them, and I hate that. I have been on consults before with people who have said, does this strategy work for you? And then I actually ended up converting them into a client because they're like, no, it's not working. And then I talked to them about how to do an effective consult. So funny. And I've been on ones before with always men, unfortunately. If you're a guy listening to this, I'm sorry. Hopefully you're not this way. But it's like always guys and they're pushing with this weird scripted strategy. And it just feels awful. I don't like that. So I'm not going to advocate for you to do that. I advocate for you to practice, have conversations that come from the heart, understand your 5-star client inside and out, care, share, exchange win-win value. And that's what leads to a sale, because you're just having a conversation with someone and discovering, hey, is what I offer a good solution or a good fit for you? So in that zone 1, when you're in Manic Imposter zone, just practice, practice, practice. Sometimes I recommend to people that if you think about your first 1 to 3 clients doing something with you for free so that you can then exchange a case study with them, this might help you build your confidence and have you reduce some of that initial fear around asking for money. I don't want you to play that out for long because that is a money block that can carry into your business into zones 2, 3, and 4, or really zones 2 and 3. And I don't want you to get stuck there. So an important thing if you're in zone 1 is to learn everything you can about sales and start breaking through your money fears. This would be by you focusing on money mindset growth and reading about sales and starting to understand the art of magnetic sales. So keep hanging out with me and listening to what I talk about in terms of energy dynamics and not being desperate when you are thinking about money and having money exchanges. You want to create win-win relationships and start to up-level your vibrational frequency so that when you're talking to someone, you're not sending out a desperate energy or a scared energy, because first and foremost, people are buying your confidence. They're buying the confidence that you can help them with the problem that they have, that you are the solution. And so you want to be exuding confidence when you're talking to somebody on a consult. So those are some tips if you're in zone number 1, the Manic Imposter zone. If you're in zone 2, the over deliver and undercharge zone, and you're playing with getting to zone 3 and 4, I want you to be conscious of selling a system on your consult. So often when you're in the over deliver and undercharge zone, you tend to want to discount prices on consults and make up packages on the fly that are in addition to what you already have because someone's coming up to you with objections. So on the consult, they're saying, well, what about this? And then they're negotiating with you on price, or you can tell that they might not say yes. So you start thinking, I better discount my price. Be careful of that because you're going to stay forever stuck in the over deliver and undercharge zone if you keep giving your stuff away for too cheap and not charging what you're worth. So you want to be conscious of selling a system, having results that you can deliver and talking about that, and then sticking to your package. So you've already designed your signature offering to profit. Don't on this call, all of a sudden, when people start coming up with objections, don't waver and go, oh, wait, let me change my package or program or product or service. And then I'm going to even discount it, because you start to get FOMO that they're going to go away. If you do this, it will create a feeling of desperation and a lack of confidence. And the person is going to have less likelihood that they're going to end up paying you for something that you offer, because they're going to sense your fear. So sell a system on your consults and stay committed to selling your signature offer powerfully. If you're in zone 3, the value yourself more zone, at this point, you've already started to delegate some of your lead gen, and you're coming up with ways to grow from 1-to-1 to 1-to-few and 1-to-many. So instead of only doing one-on-one clients or working with one-on-one clients, you now are thinking about, can I add offerings to start to work with 1-to-few. So a small group coaching program would be an example here. And then the 1-to-many would be selling digital courses or events or, pop-up workshops, things like that. So at this point, your consults are going to start to change. So I want you to consider this. How does this change my consults? Am I still doing them on my own? Am I even doing consults anymore? Or do I now start to get into that zone 4 space where I'm implementing evergreen strategies to scale and more cold market campaigns where it doesn't take as much of your time to do a 1-to-1 consult? And so you might, as you get to zone 4, you might start delegating the consults. And this is something to really consider. It depends on your business model and what your strengths and weaknesses are. So for me, I love doing consults. It helps me know a lot about the people I'm working with. It helps me create new products, programs, and services because I see patterns in what people are saying. And so I like to do consults to a point. As I scale to 7 figures, I have less and less tolerance for consults. And I say tolerance because sometimes I'm willing to talk to anybody to just start to get information and understand where people are stuck. And then you'll start to get to a point where you get frustrated, where you go, oh, these are tire kickers, I'm not interested. And that's when you really want to up-level your pre-qual process. So it depends on the stage of business you're in, and it depends on the purpose of the consults. So when I'm starting a new program, I'll get on a lot of consults with any coach to hear their issues, whether they say they can pay for a program with me or not, because I really want to do market validation research. And then when I start to see a pattern, then I have a stricter qualification process to talk to people, because I don't want to just talk to anybody, because time is very valuable. So this is going to vary dependent on which zone you're in. If you're in zone 1, focus on practicing. Zone 2, focus on selling a system and sticking powerfully to your signature program. Don't discount it. If you're in zone 3, start to consider, okay, am I going to start delegating consults? How does the transformation of my business, as I start to value myself more, change how I do consults? And then in zone 4, same thing. You want to think, can I implement evergreen strategies to start to scale? So am I doing consults anymore? What do those look like? How can I optimize my time so that I can always stay in my zone of genius? Okay, so let's get into first the art of selling. I want to talk to you about the law of attraction-based selling, how it creates magnetic sales. So the dynamics here you want to think about is that selling is understanding your 5-star customer inside and out. Selling is caring. Selling is sharing. Selling is a win-win value exchange. So I want you to think about you being water in the desert. What I mean by this is that when you bring the perfect solution to the perfect person at the perfect time, you are water in the desert. You are saving somebody's life. You are the answer to their prayers. And so that's a win-win value exchange. When people are saying to you, oh my God, I was looking for a teacher and you appeared. You're the perfect person for me right now. Wow, you're the answer to my prayers. You're water in the desert for them. And that is you showing up powerfully, willing to promote yourself, talking to people about what you offer, caring about them enough to understand if what you offer is a good fit for them or not. So it takes a conversation, especially in the beginning stages, until you know them so well that you can sell it cold market style on an evergreen video sales course or something, right? So selling is, I really like you to think selling is caring, selling is sharing, selling is a win-win value exchange. This is going to cause law of attraction magnetism, because instead of you getting on a call and thinking, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm not sure what to say. What if they say no? What if they bicker on price? On and on and on. All these fears that we have when we're in those first few zones of business growth. Drop all that. Selling is caring. It's you having a conversation with someone. I want you to think about it as if, imagine that you love a movie and you're talking to your best friend about it and you're telling them about the movie and they're like, oh my God, I've got to go see this movie. That's the same thing you're doing. You're just sharing with somebody what you offer in a caring way. And then they will either say, oh yeah, that's a great fit for me. Or they'll be like, oh, this isn't necessarily the right time. And I want you to remember that selling is an ongoing process. No can mean many different things. It can mean, no, I'm not interested at all. So just remove them from your list, stop wasting your time, and be thankful that they let you know so that you don't waste your time with them. No can mean not right now. This means keep following up. Research shows that 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the initial meeting. That's wild, right? 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the initial meeting. So don't get discouraged when you need to keep following up with people. This is why, especially over time, you want to build automated nurture systems like email nurture sequences to keep in contact with your people. For me, and we're going to talk about this in step 11, a podcast is great because I can nurture people through time by them listening to my podcast. So, we want you to set up something along those lines so that you can keep nurturing your people over time, and it makes the follow-up feel easy. Also know that the word no, when someone says no, it doesn't necessarily mean no for the long term. It could mean, I'm not sure of the value. They could just be skeptical and they don't see the value of what you're offering. Typically what this means is that you need to go back and do market research to learn the language of your 5-star customer, and you need to understand their pain points better. And then no could also mean it's possible, but I need to find the funding in order to pay for your services. So if they say this, then you just keep following up and providing value. And at some point they will either convert into being a paying client or they won't. And so follow-up is key. Also, you could offer a payment plan. Or if you're in zone 4, even maybe 3 moving into 4, you could offer a downsell. So you could have more than one product, program, or service, and you could offer a downsell to someone who says they don't have the funding for your signature program. But I don't want you to offer more than one program, remember, unless you're at 6 figures or really flowing with one product already, product, program, or service. Okay. So just keep in mind that when you're selling, it's a magnetic process. People can feel your energy, and you want to be confident in what you're selling. You want to be confident in what you're sharing during a consult. Okay, so getting consults on the calendar. You can use your direct sales strategies or your lead magnet to build your list with the CTA at the end that leads to a consult. Remember that direct marketing is by far the most effective strategy to get the fastest results. So direct marketing would be direct outreach of you going to a networking event, talking to someone through DMs, and getting them on the calendar to do a consult. Don't make the mistake of thinking that content marketing will get calls booked. It's way too passive, and it's not going to bring you enough prospects. So here's an example. In Inner Power Daily, here are our numbers that we're playing with to get to 7 figures. So 4,000 new leads reached per month. That's 1,000 a week. There's an average 3% booking rate. That's 24 people a month, 6 booked calls per week, and a 20% conversion rate. That's 5 new clients a month. Okay. That's 4,000 new leads reached per month. So you see how that is a whole system that needs to happen. That's never going to happen through content marketing unless I have millions of followers, which I do not. And I don't strive to because I don't use content marketing as my strategy. So pay attention to, how am I going to get enough people to talk to? It's far faster to talk to people in person, and because the conversion rate goes way up, than it is to start with cold market leads. That's why I say start with networking if you can, or start with, doing lunch and learns in persons and the things that we talked about in previous steps, because content marketing takes time to figure out how to get conversion, and it's hard to get the numbers to be high enough in order to convert enough clients. So pay attention to the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and start tracking how many people do you need to talk to in order to get a consult that converts into a paying client. Personalization helps a ton when you're thinking about getting clients on the calendar. So less leads are needed when you personalize your messages and you really build relationships. So any of the strategies I teach you when you're in zones 1 through 3, high personalization will get you clients more easily. When you move into zone 4 and you're scaling and you're talking to more cold market leads, then it's going to be different strategies. And so, most of you that are listening to this are not at that level yet, which is why you're listening to this. And so we're not going to dig into that too much. Nurture them over time using several touch points. So when you're thinking about how to get consults on the calendar, you got to nurture. So automated emails help. So let's say you have an opt-in, someone opts into your lead magnet. You want to have an automated nurture sequence. I love to use video sales. So I use a program called Dub. You can use Loom. There are video sales strategies. We're implementing a new one that I'm really excited about. So it's like they can ask a question and then I answer it through a pre-recorded video. And so it's like they're talking to me live time, but it's all automated and pre-recorded. You can use DMs, phone calls, mail outs. Just remember that you need many touch points. Remember, like we said, 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups, but that's even after the initial meeting. So if you're talking about a cold market, it takes even more. I read somewhere the other day that it takes 32 touch points. Holy cow, that's a lot. 32. So what that means is you've got to have systems in place where your people can keep seeing you over and over and over and over again. And that's always going to be true for colder market leads. Warm market is faster and easier. So again, I'm just going to keep emphasizing that when you're in zones 1 and 2, you really want to be directly talking to people and building relationships, because your consult conversion rates are going to go way up. Another thing, have your calendar link on all your bios and outgoing emails to schedule more consults. So something to consider is your pre-consult qualifying questions on your scheduler. Think about the questions that you want to know walking into that consult. This, of course, is going to be Zoom-based. If you're doing a Zoom-based consult, then I use Calendly. You can use other scheduling apps to ask them a few questions to detect their urgency, their ability to pay, where they're stuck, and that kind of thing when you get on the consult. To increase the likelihood that they show up, make sure that you have a scheduler that nurtures them through different series of emails and follow-ups, like a follow-up text that says, hey, your meeting is at this time and this time. And then, in my group coaching and course, I teach advanced strategies that you can implement in order to nurture your consults over time. Okay, and now that you have that consult on the calendar, it's key that you have a powerful conversation during the consult, okay? So that is key. And just go back to that place of get energetically aligned before the call, really listen to them, be present. Don't be freaking out about how you don't know the answers. Just be present and have powerful conversations. People love to be heard. They love to be understood. They want to know that you're the right fit by you being present and being there. If you're thinking about how am I going to get the sale, that doesn't feel good to them. So you want to energetically align yourself and be present. Be confident when you talk about pricing. So practice that. You could practice it in the mirror. You could practice it with a friend. Practice talking about money so that you feel confident when you do it. And then I always like to end my consults with, how would you like for me to follow up? This drops pressure and defensiveness and gives them the power to tell you how to follow up and puts the ball in their court. So it's a great strategy. Just ask, how would you like for me to follow up? And then they'll tell you exactly how they want to follow up. And then you'll have a gauge on how serious they are about moving forward. Because, most people don't always convert right at the consult. There's going to be a follow-up process. So post-consult follow-up, remember, especially for cold market leads, they're not going to decide right on the spot. They might need a little bit of time. So you want to create a follow-up system where you're checking in with them in the way that they asked you to when you said, how would you like for me to follow up? And just always remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. If you don't follow up, you will lose many, many people. It's been surprising to me in DM strategies that we use that often it's on the third message that people will respond. And they'll sometimes say, thank you for bumping this back up. And I'm like, wow, I think we have a common thought that we're bugging people. I hear this all the time. And I've definitely had that thought sometimes too. And yet I see statistically in the numbers that the fortune's in the follow-up. And we've heard that a million times. It really is true. So don't be a sleazy jerk and say mean things and be pushy with people. And, I don't think any of you here are going to do that. Instead, use strategy, use numbers to show you what's working and what's not. So, just like we talked about in the last step about creating opt-ins, you want to create, test, refine, optimize, and scale. So same thing, practice the consult would be you creating it and testing it. You're going to keep refining how you follow up, how you talk on the consults. You're going to optimize, and then you're going to be able to scale because you're going to get better and better at it. This is a practice, a process. You're not going to be great the first time you get on a consult. Don't expect that. Just practice, practice, practice. All right. So the highlights here. Remember that selling is caring. You want to come at this from a law of attraction-based perspective, knowing that people can unconsciously read your energy. If you're desperate, they're going to feel it. If you're worried about how to sell, they're going to feel it. Instead, just care and share. Get consults on the calendar by being direct, asking for them. Don't be passive. Have a direct marketing strategy to get consults on the calendar, especially in those zone 1, 2, and 3 growth phases of your business. When you're doing pre-consult qualifying questions, make sure that you're asking questions to help you understand if they're a good fit so you can filter out people who are not, and also show up to the consult prepared by them answering certain questions on your consult intake form. Next, you want to implement practices to make sure that they show up to the consult. So nurture sequences and automations. When you're on the consult, have a very powerful conversation during the consult and then ask how they would like you to follow up. And then post-consult follow-up is very important because most people don't convert on the spot. So make sure you have a system for post-consult follow-up. Your action steps for today are to download the workbook, that the link is in the show notes, so that you can implement and follow the action steps that are there for setting up consults that sell and being confident and converting. I want you to make sure that when you listen to this, you're like, holy moly, I need some help. I'm here for you. Schedule a rapid biz growth call with me and let's see how we can work together to get you to 6 figures. I love selling. I think selling is really fun because it's a puzzle of the human mind and it's human interaction and connection and creating win-win relationships. So, I'm really good at implementing these strategies for you in your business to feel confident, to drop the imposter syndrome, to set up systems that are scalable, and to really get into inspired action to grow your business. So I'm here for you. The link is in the show notes for that. Just schedule a rapid biz growth call. Let's chat about how I can help you scale your business to the next level to get to 6 figures and really love what you do and work less and make more, have fun, all the things that I've done in my business. As I now scale to 7 figures, I'll be teaching you as I take those steps because I've already done the get to 6 figures for 5 years. And now I want to teach you how to get there. And then you can hang out with me as we get to 7 figures. So in step number 10, we're going to cover how to strategically post on social media. This is really important because a lot of people waste a lot of time on social media, and I don't want you to waste your time posting things and hoping that you get clients. There's strategy behind it, and you need to learn it. So until then, I'm sending you a rock star consult, superpower high fives. See you in step 10.